When we talk about what makes a marriage work, we usually jump to things like love and communication. But there's this other thing, this foundation that's so crucial, but we don't talk about it enough, and that's emotional safety. It's really the secret sauce to true intimacy, but it's so easily misunderstood. So today, we're going to break down what it really is and how you can actually build it in your own partnership.
Oof. Has your partner ever said something like this to you? It can land like a total gut punch, right? And for a lot of people, the first reaction is just confusion or even getting mad. What are you talking about? I've never laid a hand on you. I provide for this family. I care about you. It just creates this wall of misunderstanding because our brains immediately go to physical safety. And here's the big shift we need to make. Emotional safety, it's not really about your good intentions. It's all about how your partner experiences you, especially your reactions. It's not about having zero conflict, because that's impossible. It's about creating a space where you can both be your real, messy selves without being terrified of how the other person is going to react. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get crystal clear on what unsafe really means in a relationship. Then we'll look at the killer cycle of defensiveness. After that, we're getting into the good stuff, a practical toolkit and some super simple habits you can start like today. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start here. Defining what it means to feel emotionally unsafe. And just remember that key idea. It's less about what you mean to do and so much more about the patterns and how you react. This is it, right here. This is the goal. Can you actually share how you really feel? Can you say, hey, that thing you said, that hurt, without your partner shutting down or getting angry or flipping it around on you? When the answer is yes, that's emotional safety. It's the freedom to be totally, completely you and know that the relationship isn't going to crumble. So if that's the goal, what's the number one thing that destroys it? Well, it's a reaction that is so common, so automatic, we barely even notice we're doing it. And that is defensiveness. This one thing can kick off a seriously destructive spiral. And I'm not being dramatic here. The research on this is pretty clear. Defensiveness is actually a stronger predictor of divorce than how often you fight or even how angry you get. Why? Because every time you get defensive, you're sending a message. And that message is, your feelings are a problem for me. And you can see how this plays out. It starts so simply. Your partner shares something real, something vulnerable, but it's met with excuses or a counterattack, yeah, but you. And they learn a really tough lesson. It's not safe to be honest here. So what happens? They shut down. But those feelings don't just vanish. Nope. They go underground and start to fester, turning into resentment. And bit by bit, the connection just erodes. Okay, so we've seen the problem. It feels big, I know. But here's the good news. The solution isn't some huge, grand gesture. You don't need a second honeymoon to fix this. The real key to building back that safety is all about thinking small. Researcher Barbara Fredrickson calls these micro moments of love. These tiny, daily hits of positive connection. We tend to think that big things like vacations or fancy anniversary dinners are what strengthen a relationship. But really, it's all the small, consistent, everyday stuff that builds a bond that can actually last. This is the feeling we're after, isn't it? That sense of peace and security. It doesn't come from a life with no problems. It comes from knowing that you've built this solid foundation, brick by tiny brick, with all these small, positive moments, so that when the tough times come, you have something real to stand on. It's about watering the plant every day. All right, so let's get practical. What can you actually do in those high-stress moments when you feel that defensiveness bubbling up? Let's open up the toolkit and see what we've got. Okay, step one is always this. Manage yourself first, before a single word comes out of your mouth. When your partner says something that hits a nerve, just notice what happens in your body. Does your heart start pounding? Do you clench your jaw? That's your nervous system yelling threat. The secret is to just pause. Right there. Take one deep breath. Slow your own system down before you react and make everything worse. Now, this one is a total game changer. Our natural instinct is to jump in and defend ourselves, right? To say, that's not what I meant. But all your partner hears is their feelings being dismissed. So try this instead. Lead with validation. Acknowledge the impact on them first. Just saying, wow, I can see how my words hurt you, builds an instant bridge. You can explain what you meant later, but you have to connect before you correct. And look, let's be real. You're not going to be a Zen master overnight. You're going to mess up. I mess up. We all do. The goal isn't perfection. It's about getting faster at cleaning up your mess. How quickly can you go back and say, I'm sorry, that was on me? An apology that comes 3 minutes after you snap is a million times more powerful than one that comes 2 days later after all that hurt has hardened.
So that's how you handle the tough moments. But what about building up a stockpile of safety so those moments happen less often? Well, it can start with a really simple daily habit that takes, seriously, less than 5 minutes.
It's called the Power Love Formula, and it's basically a structured way to make sure you're creating those micro moments of love we talked about. It guarantees that even on the craziest, busiest days, your partner doesn't just feel like another item on your to-do list. Here's how it breaks down. The transition strategy is about connecting at the 4 seams of the day: when you wake up, when you leave, when you get back, and when you go to bed. Simple hellos and goodbyes. Then there's hugging 6 by 6. Super easy. 6 hugs a day, and you hold each one for at least 6 seconds. And finally, the contract is just a daily promise to do one small loving thing, like sending a sweet text or leaving a note.
And just think about the hugging thing for a second. 6 hugs for 6 seconds each. That's a grand total of 36 seconds. Out of your entire 24-hour day. 36 seconds. That's how small and doable this is. This isn't about some massive, time-consuming project. It's about weaving tiny threads of connection into the fabric of your normal day. And all of this brings us to the final and, honestly, the most important piece of the puzzle. The real secret to building and keeping emotional safety isn't one single thing you do. It's doing small things with consistency over time. There's this great analogy from the movie The Horse Whisperer. You have this traumatized horse that won't trust anyone, and the only way it learns to trust again is by being met with the exact same calm, predictable presence, day after day after day. It's the same in our relationships. Your partner can't ever fully relax if they're always bracing themselves, wondering which version of you is going to show up today, the calm, loving you, or the stressed, reactive you. Predictability is what creates safety.
So if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this right here. You can love your partner with all your heart and still be an emotionally unsafe person to be with. Because love is a feeling, but safety is a pattern. It's built on what you consistently do, especially when things get hard.
At the end of the day, all the big changes come from the smallest choices we make moment to moment. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is just one tiny micro moment of connection that you can create for your partner today?